Hey everybody, that dude right in front of you is Marco, I'm Driggs, and we are wallowing in the sticks.
Good evening, Barrister. I'm delighted to be here with you as we wallow with our grand community. But in an effort to drive forward with some, call it rough-hewn efficiency, why don't you say we drive into some game action?
Right into it, Marco. What an interesting day it has been. It looked like it was going to be just a total disaster, which is my whole point on why yesterday we talked about you can't give little cheery happiness because it's not about the individual game, it's about the whole Major League Baseball season. So right now, we took a couple losses early on some games that really we only played because we're up so much on our bankroll on. I kind of like how in this situation, we are able to be a little more flexible. And now we just got our first win of the night with Milwaukee coming in at 6-4.
That Milwaukee game was something. I mean, that came back nice, and it was good to see come in. But the key I want to get across to people is this ain't fun and games. This ain't hijinks. This is handicapping, and
right.
we're serious. We're serious bastards. We're not
right.
trying to do some silly bullshit. We're doing some serious handicapping. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. No games, no fooling around. It's right to that.
You thought that was me the whole time. I was under the blanket, man. I was under the blanket. I had you fooled. I don't know if it fooled everybody, but this baby's on its way to Tampa.
That's your cardboard cutout that you were having done.
This baby's on its way to Tampa, my friend. Man, I had you going. I could have done the whole show like that, but I started getting a little warm. I started perspiring a little, and that's not ever very comfortable for a guy that's middle-aged.
Wow. I was, maybe I'm just so interested in the games. Maybe my attention was a little distracted, but dude, that's a great cardboard cutout. And
it's on its way to. I don't want to get it too heated from all the extra lighting that I had to do. So it's on its way to Tampa, and I couldn't be happier.
Dude. Tonight is our 20th show, and to start off the 20th show with you just totally blowing my mind with your cardboard cutout.
I wanted to do something. I told you I was going to do something special for you.
Yeah.
And I knew that, that's not like the ones they have in San Francisco, the perfect ones, or the ones that you see in LA. But that one's going right to Tampa, and it's going to fit in. It's the Marco.
Yeah.
It's the Marco.
So, Marco, I want you to glance back at the Oriole symbol, the bird. Do you see it? Do you see it smiling?
Yes.
I never knew why it was smiling, but now I get it because it's got a great sense of humor. That is just fantastic.
I think the bird, the Oriole bird, knew it was our 20th anniversary. So, yeah.
20th anniversary. I love it. It's just the 20th show.
I'm in a panic. I couldn't breathe under there. I mean, that thing is such a thick, beautiful blanket. I couldn't breathe. I would have stayed under there the whole show, but I mean, I needed to get some air. You don't mind, do you?
No, that's great. I love.
Let's talk about something. I mean, we're talking about games. We're talking about fun and games. You're talking about serious handicapping. Is this still a thing? Let me just get this off my chest since I'm all riled up, and then we'll get into some more game action and our regular segments.
Yeah.
But is this still a thing that prognosticators and sports writers are going to be freaking saying he might hit 400? He's challenging Teddy Baseball. Charlie Blackmon's hitting 434. Let's see. Let's do the numbers. There's this many games left. It shouldn't be a thing. This isn't a season, Michael. It's a tournament. Don't let the old Teddy Baseball roll over in his grave. I did some numbers here. Charlie Blackmon, he basically in 60 games, he's had 102 at-bats, and what has he had? Let me see. My math is not doing so great here. It looked like I had essentially, let me start over. What I'm trying to say, and it's pretty simple, is if and only if you want to try to challenge Teddy Baseball for 400, you have to use essentially 63% of his at-bats from last season.
Okay.
The first 63, because 60 games is 37% of the season.
Yes.
So if you want to take his at-bats and his hits from last season, and you want to take 63% of that, you would be basically taking 63% of 580. He had 580 at-bats last season. That's 365. You would be taking 63% of 182 hits, which is 115. And this year, he's got 64 hits, 64 at-bats, and 31 hits. So if you add that all together, if you add 64 to the 365, which is 603, if you add my math, I'm in a panic. If you add 64 to 365, which is 63% of 580, and then you add 31 to 115, which is 63% if you add 31 to 115, which is 63% of 182, the amount of hits he had last year, he would have 429 at-bats, 146, and he'd be batting a respectable 340. All I'm saying is it's not a season. It's 30%, 7% of a season. I stumbled through the numbers, and I had it all nice and neat. It's just the whole thing with the blanket. I think I hyperventilated.
Well, the only thing that matters is the 340. We get it, and it's a valid point. But I would also throw in that some of those at-bats are against COVID replacement players and things of that nature, minor leaguers, guys part of an 80-man roster who wouldn't even be part of it. So
yeah, I mean,
if you put in a variable for that, it's, a not so respectable 280. But we get it. We get it.
I mean, he's batting 434 right now. Great. Right. He's a third through 60 games. 60 games is 37% of the season. But if you do it out even under the best case scenarios, and you add the hits he has now to hit the amount of hits he had in 63% of the season last year, because if you can't just you got to do something. Hey, he had a respectable season last year. He had a full season year. Let me take 63% of those at-bats. Let me take 63% of those hits. I'll add him to his at-bats. I'll add him to his hits. And he's doing a respectable 340. Let's give him 340. But let's not get anywhere near 400. Let's not make that a thing. I went on long.
Fair enough. And we can give him we
can give him the batting crown of the tournament, man.
Right. For sure. So Colorado just got a few more runs. They're up 7-2. I know our guest handicapper, Dale, BD, was on Colorado on the over today. So that's another win for him. And he's looking at going 4-0. We're looking at 2-3 with our Milwaukee game, the Colorado game coming in 7-2. But obviously, Arizona could have an insane inning in the ninth, so we don't want to count that before it's done. And then we sit here at 2-2 with our rubber game, Seattle and Texas, which is in the bottom of the sixth. Seattle down 2 runs in that. But we were looking for value plays today. We put our bankroll profits in play, and we went with some teams that a 2-3 day should be. I haven't done the math, but it's not going to be a loss. It might even be plus money with the dogs that we played today. So feeling great about these picks, and I just really wanted to tell the story. If we can just shift gears into something a little bit.
We need to shift gears. My little example of math, I think, got people a little confused, but you understand. 60 games is 37%. So
yeah, we get it, Marco. We get it.
Let me explain it one more time.
So I'm having dinner with the folks tonight, and Dad's feeling a little bit loosey-goosey, and he's telling old stories about his time of, and he's still active, but he's a forensic psychologist, and he was retained in a particular case, and Dad is just telling this hilarious story about how the opposing expert witness on the other side was just not a competent psychologist. And so Dad's looking at his report and analyzing the report, and he writes up this entire long commentary about the problems in this other psychologist's report. And he gives it to the attorney that is his attorney, and the attorney goes, wow, this is 4 pages single spaced of complaints. And Dad says, so do you want me just to compartmentalize it or hone it down? The attorney says, nah, we'll deal with it. So now they're at trial. And the attorney asks Dad, says, Dr. Berger, did you find any problems with the expert witness on the other side's analysis of the situation? And Dad says, well, I did. And the attorney says, what were those problems? So Dad pulls out and he starts reading the 4 pages. And after a few minutes, the attorney says, Dr. Berger, if I may interrupt for a second, would it be maybe quicker to just ask if you found anything positive in the other side's analysis? So that was my evening tonight. That's
great. Hilarious because, I mean, since we're going down memory lane, I've heard a few of those whoppers from old Steve-O myself. And I don't know if that one beats the one that I remember where the opposing expert psychologist was so inept that he thought it was Manilow's hierarchy of needs and not Maslow's.
Everyone knows Maslow's. And when you're a gambler, you better know Maslow's because we hit every single point. And that's a point I want to make today is, we're 20 shows in, 20 shows of 60 games. And if it was an ordinary baseball season, it's now it's actually mid-August. It's the early part of mid-August. Is it fair to say we're in the dog days of the tournament? It's the dog days of summer, man.
The tournament, yeah. I mean, if there's any cliche that you could bring out, it would be a double entendre since we're actually in August.
Right.
It's the dog days of summer, and we're actually in the heat of the tournament. It really matters now. And
these teams better be fighting for the 24 playoff spots or however many it is.
At least 24.
At least.
Everybody gets in. It's like intramurals when you're 8, and they don't hurt feelings. But that's a great story about Pops, man.
Yeah.
He's always got a diminished expert witness on the other side.
Right. Well, it's also the dog days of gambling.
Oh.
The dog days of wagering. And those people who tailed us today, who are tailing us, or who are just getting our information and making decisions, this is the point I wanted to make about, so when's it okay to text and when's it not okay to text the winners? At the end of the season. We are in a grind here. It's
right.
Day in, day out. You celebrate a 10-run second inning because it probably is going to be a victory. Well, the very next day, you may go 0 for 5. And we were looking at an 0 for 5 today. That was our position. And if something doesn't change in the Seattle-Texas game, we'll be 2-3, but probably not down any money. Maybe even or just down a little bit. I haven't done the math on who were the dogs. I think we're down maybe a quarter unit.
I just want to cap on what you're saying because, you can't get all happy and do a little dance because you had one good game the day before because the next day you could have your ass handed to it. In other words, we're not Goldman Sachs. When the market starts to fall, we can't just already have our shorts, positions all there. We don't get it both ways like the Goldman Sachs.
Right. Exactly. And so we want to be profitable at the end of the season. Any individual day is important to manage your bankroll, not to chase losses, to stay consistent, to stay ahead of the addiction, if you will. And that's what the wallowing is all about, is not chasing, but staying calm, staying cool, staying measured, trusting your handicapping ability. And I still think we got a shot here on Seattle. We go to the top of the 7th, they're down 2. And if they get the win, then it's a really good day for us, 3-2 on a bunch of value plays. That's fucking great.
That would be amazing. I'm pulling for the Grand Mariners. I wouldn't mind seeing a 3-2 on value days. Tell me a little bit about let's talk about our favorite guy, because we're not talking about Major League season. We're not talking about tournament in baseball. We're talking about Manfred baseball.
Yeah.
Let's get let's get Manfred on the table here.
I have two items I want to say about Manfred, and they kind of blend together as one general commentary, and that is Manfred came out today and said that, look, although the Cardinals have only played 5 games, there's still a chance for them to have a meaningful season. And that's such a funny phrase to me, meaningful season. Look, any game that they play will be meaningful to me because I'll be handicapping it. So get them in action, but it's kind of nice not to have that one additional game to handicap. It's kind of nice to have a smaller field, but it'll be exciting to handicap whatever their return is, whatever their staff is, whatever their rosters are. But in the same time, at the same conference, he expressed that maybe for the playoffs, Major League Baseball will do a bubble. And it made me realize that if they do a playoff bubble based on percentages, the St. Louis COVIDs, all they need to do when they come back to play is slightly under 500. If they can perform like at 400, they'll hit the 28 win mark, which we think is the number that will get them into the playoffs. And that would get the COVIDs into the bubble.
Wow. That's some interesting numbers.
Which is probably the one team you don't want in the bubble. But
no, exactly. That's the one team. I guess that would be, I guess the meaningful baseball they would be playing is that they would actually get everybody sick, and that would be pretty meaningful because they would all go down the toilet. Right. Or it could just be patronizing them, and they may never even qualify for the playoffs because they're such an infested organization. So when he said meaningful baseball, he could have been patronizing them, like, you know, when my dad used to say, when I hit another hard grounder to third for an out, he would say, "Nice idea, kid."
It's always a good idea to try to get it past that third baseman. So the diamond, man.
Either patronizing, or it's going to be hardly ironic when the sickest team gets inside the clean bubble just to make it turn green with fumes.
When this league finally goes to a bubble is what does them in. That would just be perfectly ironic. But
it would be. So I didn't know the show was so literary. What else are we going to talk about? You said you had something that was going to tell them.
I want to talk about the diamond, hitting the ball to third, and then it gets...
Diamond? Wait a minute. So let me just stop you. Let me just stop you right there, because I've always had a little bit of a pet peeve. You have no reason to know this, but I've always had a little bit of pet peeve. Sure, players are arranged in a diamond. You got the catcher, you know, and then your third baseman and your first baseman all the way out to your center fielder. But the field itself, you know, they say, let's go out on the diamond. Why don't they say, let's go out on the funnel? It goes out to infinity. It's a funnel. Let's go hit some fungos on the funnel. Come on, boys, let's go have some fun on the funnel. It's not a diamond. The players are shaped in the diamond. The field is shaped in a funnel. The players are shaped in a diamond unless, of course, Chris Davis is up, and then it's some kind of trapezoid. The player. But he's still a thing, and that's kind of annoying. But, you know, you could get used to anything. Everybody got used to, hey, the players are going to go on the diamond. The players are taking the diamond. I say we call it a funnel for now on. Let's hit the funnel. Let's get on the funnel. Let's have some fun. Let's have some BP on the funnel, because you can get used to anything. You can get used to wearing masks to the store. You can get used to a 60-game tournament. You can get used to fake fans in the audience. You can get used to fake presidents. You can get used to anything. I say let's change it to let's go play on the funnel, man. Let's go man the funnel.
I don't think you even appreciate how brilliant that is. I know you're just kind of having fun and it's a concept, but think about when the term diamond came around. We're talking really the turn of the prior century, the 1900s, early 1900s. And you're talking at the time, where was the hot place? Where's the hip place? It was Coney Island. And what were they doing? Funnel cakes. So it's actually important for us to call it the funnel.
Yes,
so I'm with you.
That really tags it well. And I'm sorry. So, yeah, I mean, I hear diamond all the time, and I just wanted to get that off my chest. It's been a crazy show. It's our 20th show.
20th.
Not quite our 20th anniversary, but it's our 20th
show. So I do want to point out that while Seattle hasn't done anything in the 7th, Colorado has taken an 8-2 lead as we go to the top of the 9th. And so barring disaster, That's a win, and it's a first read win.
It's a
It's
first
a
read.
first read flyer win.
There you go.
So
we're doing all kinds of physical stuff.
Yeah.
I'm trying to tell you the name of the segment by doing that
yeah.
and whistling half-assed.
So I'm pumped for our first reads, man.
Yeah, get right into the first reads. It's funny that I changed my intro a little because in a drive for some what I call rough-hewn efficiency, and I've been the most efficient co-host there's ever been. But let's get right into the first reads.
So I will agree with the efficiency. So can I make a request that might be, if you turn it down, I understand. But I think for the 20.
You want me to put the
Can we do it? Can we do it? Can we put it up? Can I do the first reads to the cardboard cutout? Come on.
Yeah, we get to the first reads to the cardboard cutout if we can do this. But get started
before it goes to Tampa. So right on. So the White Sox are in Detroit again. That's the third game of the series. We were on Detroit today. We missed that by 1 day on the play. We took a loss there. Arizona, Colorado. Oh, but you got to get under the blanket, man. Yeah, that's perfect. We'll do the first reads here. Arizona, Colorado. That'll be the third game. My guy Santazella, who I'm just a fan of, and I don't know if I can handicap him right because I'm such a big fan of him, is going to be at home. These are day games. The Detroit game starts at 10 o'clock, and the Colorado game is at noon. These are Pacific times. The Angels are at home hosting Oakland. Right now, the Angels are up 5-0 in the sixth, making it look like they have a chance to go up 2-0. That'd be a chance to sweep the A's. After the Angels were swept in Texas, you got Bassett going against your guy, Canning, Marco. You're such a big fan of Canning that I think you feel the way about him as I do about Santazella. In Cleveland.
That game is an interesting game to me. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Be on my short list.
Right. We got Hendricks against Carrasco in the Cubs and Tribe game. Carrasco has been good, but Hendricks hasn't lived up to his first game performance of the complete game shutout. Miami and Toronto, we didn't get a chance to talk about the Jays' first home game in Buffalo today, but they pulled out an extra inning win against Miami. So it's Yamamoto against Pearson. Pearson, regular feature now in that Toronto starting lineup.
What time is that game?
That game is at 3:37, which is apparently Buffalo starts games at the 37 mark.
That's right, man. Fred is actually by the minute he's segmenting games, man.
Right. Kansas City and Cincinnati continue their series, their third game in that series. Keller against Miley. Your Orioles, who scored 10 more runs on 16 hits tonight to win in extra innings against Philadelphia, finished that series. LeBlanc goes, who's been, I mean, his ERA is high, but he's done a good job so far, right?
LeBlanc's been pretty good. I mean, he's
right?
Warrior-esque. He's been consistent. I think he gave up 4 earned in like 3 or 4 innings last time, but his first 2 games he was all right. He's solid. He's a solid, number 4, number 5.
Right, and he goes against Zach Eflin, who all I know about him is he throws a lot of sinkers. Atlanta against the Yankees. Well, I thought Atlanta had a chance today. I thought they were looking forward to this game, and they certainly did wind up getting the runs, but Toussaint was just awful start to finish. And
you said that was going to be a bomb fest anyway. I mean,
Yeah.
The game was going to be a bomb fest because I considered making that my flyer instead of the Rocky game. And you said it's just going to be bombs away there, and it was.
Right. We just happened to be on the receiving end of the bombs. Washington and the Mets, so they finish up their series. The Mets now having lost these games and reeling. They're losing players. They're losing games.
Losing players, secreting out at night.
Right.
Yeah.
So they don't even have a starter going against Anibal Sanchez for Washington, who Is there a reason he's still in Major League Baseball? I'm not sure I understand that.
I don't understand that either.
Right, San Francisco against Houston. Tonight, San Francisco is losing to Houston, but it's a close game. They're putting up a lot of runs, so that'll be the rubber game there. San Francisco doesn't know who's pitching against Greinke, who is really been effective, even though seems to be kind of getting hit hard. And then Minnesota-Milwaukee would be the rubber game there. Maeda against Lauer, in an interesting matchup. Tampa Bay and Boston. Tampa Bay, Snell going against Godley. That game draws my interest. A couple of guys who don't go very long into games. Is Snell going to finally get into a fourth inning? Is he been built up? Tampa Bay is inconsistent. Boston obviously just doesn't care about the season. Seattle, Texas, still to be determined what's going to happen in that game here. We've gone to the bottom of the seventh with 2 out. Meanwhile, in our Colorado game, Arizona has guys all over the bases. They've already put a run in, and Colorado's having trouble getting outs, of course, right? And
Colorado, thin air.
Right. And San Diego and the Dodgers. Davies, who's been very good, goes against Urias, who's been very good as well. And San Diego tonight is, last I checked, is up 6-1 in that game with about 2 or 3 innings to go. So that's your card, Marco?
Yeah, I mean, it's almost impossible for me not to. It's almost impossible for me not to go into Buffalo with the Phenom, Pearson, to make you do that game, to make you pay attention to Buffalo on its shining day, to go with the Phenom, to see what's happened at a 3:37 start. I mean, the staggering makes it interesting to me. The Phenom makes it interesting to me. The Queen City makes it interesting. These Jays song by Nancy P makes it interesting to me. And I got to tell you to do the Toronto game in Buffalo.
I love it, Marco. It's a game I wasn't really honed in on, so now I'll get to do some good handicapping of that game. And more importantly than that, here's the deal I'll make to you. Regardless of whether I go with Miami, Toronto, team total, whatever, if we win that game, and that game will be over when we reconvene, we'll put on the theme song at the end to close us out tomorrow night.
How you love doing all that technical stuff. It's no fun. But be honest, did I fidget less this time?
Much less fidgeting. It's a keeper. Tampa Bay's.
This thing's on its way to Tampa, man. This is better than anything they have there.
It sure is. Get it a club seat, I hope. Right. So
let's wrap it up, man. This has been a heck of a show. We figured we were going to go a little bonkers on our 20th anniversary. I'm just going to call it that again for the hell of it. Any effort for rough-hewn efficiency is tossed out the window. You're doing a flyer on the Phenom. The season, the tournament keeps going. Idiots keep trying to challenge Ted Williams hitting 400, even though whatever happens is only going to be 37% of a season. So I say phooey to them. And I'm glad I got to hear some stories about my good friend, Dr. Steve Berger. And I'm going to say goodnight to you, my friend.
Wonderful. Let's let everybody know to join our VIP list at Picks4Sticks at gmail.com. Let's see if we can get a couple more outs.
Oh, yeah, what's going on with some scores? You got some score updates there?
8-3 Colorado. They can't close it out. And Seattle down 2 runs going into the top of the 8th. We'll have to get some runs.
We're still in it with the Seattle game, and we're sweating a little on Colorado Flyer.
That's right.
All right. Well, good night, Michael. I'll see you tomorrow, bud.
Right on.
One of us will see you tomorrow.
Good night.
All right. Good night.